Several Muslim countries have put forth a resolution to dispatch an independent international commission of inquiry. Our guest on this topic is Ofer Bronstein, president of the International Center for Peace in the Middle East. Thank you so much for joining us today. Israel denies using excessive force against the Palestinians earlier this week, and it says it's being unfairly targeted by the UN Human Rights Council, saying that other countries are much less often pointed out than Israel. Is it really singled out more than others?
Yes, statistically, yes. And by singling out Israel in a very recurrent way, it's reinforcing the extremists in Israel who are saying we cannot trust the international community, they're not objective, they're against us. So it's absolutely the wrong attitude, and they're losing their credibility. And Israel is right in this point, because they don't deal with Congo, they don't deal with Syria often enough, they don't deal with Yemen often enough, they don't deal in so many countries where human rights are being abused and not respected on a daily basis. So Israel is feeling that it's being cornered.
Would you say? Is it because it's an old conflict?
No, I think that the people who are running this commission are not objective one. They don't want to look in their own backyard what's going on, and it's always easy. It doesn't mean that Israel should not be accountable for action that they had in the last few days, and they are having usually towards the Palestinians, but it cannot be the only one. If no, this commission is losing completely their credibility. At the same time, I'm very glad to hear that the Egyptian as well as the Israeli reopened their borders in the last few days for the Gazawi, for the Palestinian from Gaza, to be able to get goods, to be able to get humanitarian aid, and to be able, in this month of Ramadan, to be able to breathe a little bit, which is absolutely, their life is absolutely unbearable. They don't have any more drinking water. They have only 2-3 hours electricity a day. 2/3 of the population is unemployed. The majority of the population live with less than $4 a day. Poverty and ignorance is the best source for the extremists and for the terrorists.
I mean, we blame Israel a lot for that, but there are other countries around, Egypt being one of them, whose border is usually closed.
You're absolutely right.
And who doesn't who doesn't give identity papers to these Palestinian diaspora. Would you say they're as much to blame as Israel in this conflict?
Absolutely. I do believe that the Arab country, and we see them at the Human Rights Commission, they are mobilizing themselves very strongly against Israel. But when it comes to help their Palestinian brother economically and politically, they should put all the pressure and all the leverage they have for the reconciliation between the Palestinian Authority and the Hamas, to allow the Palestinian Authority to take over Gaza as it should have been done a long time ago. And they have the political leverage to do so. They should help their Palestinian brothers in Gaza who are suffering terribly. They should help the Palestinians in the West Bank to continue building their future independent country.
Are they not helping because they want to find a different solution? They don't want to be part of the solution to the crisis?
They are part of the solution. Peace with the Palestinian, between Israel and the Palestinian, will be peace between Israel and the Arab world. And we see already in the last few months excellent relationship between Israel and Saudi Arabia, Israel and the Gulf country. A week ago I was in Israel. It was a big agriculture manifestation in Israel. All the Arab countries were there. All of them are signing contract with the Israeli. Right. And then when they came back, they're using for internal political purposes the Palestinian situation and the Palestinian conflict. They should play a constructive role, bringing the Palestinians together and helping them economically and politically to achieve their goal for independence.
Then going back to Israel and all of this, with Donald Trump's support, with his moving the embassy to Jerusalem, which was a much stronger support than, for example, under Barack Obama. How has this American backing helped or influenced Benjamin Netanyahu's politics? Has he changed? Has he become more brash, or does the government feel that it has more legitimacy in doing what it wants to do because it has such a strong backing from Washington?
Listen, the last thing that I can be, it's a spokesman of the American president. I don't know his intention. He can surprise us.
What effect does it have on Israel, this support?
He's backing totally the Prime Minister of Israel and his government. He broke the deal with Iran. It's what the actual government of Israel wanted. He brought the embassy to West Jerusalem. It's what the actual government wanted. If he's going to use this leverage that he's having now on the actual government to tell them, I gave you what you asked me to do, but now it's time for you to deliver on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. You don't build anymore in Area C. You give back territories, you stop settlements, and you go back to negotiation with the Palestinian on a permanent status, which means 2 countries for 2 people.
Is that even possible today? I mean, it's been 70 years. Yeah. How many promises have been made? How many presidents have made them?
Too many.
So many.
Too many by everybody.
And when you look at the map, the amount of space in which Palestinians live in Israel is, I mean, almost non-existent when you compare. I mean, it's shrinking so much so is this just is this an idea? It's a fantasy that we have all around the world that maybe one day there could be 2 states. On the ground, it looks almost impossible.
First of all, it's good to have ideas, and it's good to continue believing in it because it's the only solution. And as you know, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it's far beyond the border of Israel and Palestine. It has an impact in the street of Paris. It has an impact of every city in the world. It's time to resolve it, and it's possible. It's a small conflict. It's between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean. You have 15 million Israeli and Palestinians who live in these small territories. They will have to find a way to live in good neighboring relationship and in peace. The international community needs to put all their pressure, all their weight, all the leverage that they're having, mainly the European, to bring back Israeli and Palestinian around the table, and for once and for all to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Thank you, Ofer Bronstein, for that analysis. Thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you.